Hey guys, so today I have swatches of the Essie Blushin Crushin collection for spring 2024. There are 6 polishes all together. 4 of them are kind of all the same color and the other 2 are also kind of the same color. So cool, Essie. That's unfair. They're all a little bit different, but still. So you can find these at beyondpolish.com. I will link that website down below. I also have a coupon/affiliate code with Beyond Polish. You can find them other places as well, but you know. So 6 polishes all together. I also will show some comparisons after the swatches, so I will get into it. So the first polish is called First Kiss Bliss, and Essie describes this as a minty green with blue and white undertones. I have come to really expect a lot from Essie, especially with their cream formulas over the last couple of years. Maybe it's partly due to the wide brush, but I just expect a lot from them. Their cream formulas have been really good. This is no exception. Very good formula, a little bit streaky on the first coat. I have a lot of ridges in my nails, so I expect to see streaks a lot of the time with lighter colors. As long as they cover for me in 2 coats, I don't see it as a flaw. So this did cover completely for me in 2 coats, but I could see needing 3 for myself even on a different day, just depending on how I'm applying it or the thickness of coats. So I would say 2 or 3 depending on your application. So that is 2 coats of First Kiss Bliss. The next polish is called Spring Fling, and this is described as a juicy pink with yellow undertones and glowing light green pearl. So really good formula on this one. I had a little bit of a hard time picking out light green pearl on this. I feel like it was more obvious in this first coat, but then by the time I got it built up, it just looked like a very like white, silvery kind of generic pearl. I don't mean that in a bad way, but just like not really having any obvious color to it. Really good formula on this. A little bit streaky when it's wet, but those brush strokes melt in really, really beautifully. All of the shimmer polishes in this collection do, and I've just been kind of impressed with shimmers in general, with Orly and with China Glaze in their spring collection as well. The shimmers have just been really nicely pearly without having a ton of brush strokes, which is really all I've ever wanted. So this built up completely for me in 3 coats. I did want to get that nail line covered. I'm not sure if I really needed the 3rd coat, but I did it anyway. I don't really think it changed it that much. If I were to revisit this, I think I would just do 2 coats. So that is 3 coats of Spring Fling. The next polish is called Meet Cute Moment, and this is described as a pinky coral with red undertones and a glowing gold pearl. Great formula, beautiful shimmer on this. I love pink with gold shimmer. I don't know why, I just love that combination. This was a little bit sheer on the first coat and definitely brush strokes in the shimmer when it was wet. Those did blend in really nicely after it dried. This covered almost completely for me in 2 coats. I feel like if I looked very close, I could see a little bit of nail line, but it wasn't enough for me to worry about doing a 3rd coat. It was very hard to pick out. So I think 2 coats is fine for this one. So that is 2 coats of Meet Cute Moment. The next polish is called Two Lips Touch, and this is described as a creamy baby blue with red undertones. This is another one of those just fantastic Essie cream formulas that I have come to expect. Goes on really, really nicely, really smooth, like buttery, applies itself, self-levels, almost completely opaque in 1 coat. This covered easily for me in 2 coats, and like most cream polishes, it did dry just a little bit darker than when it's wet. So that is 2 coats of Two Lips Touch. The next polish is called Flirty Flutters, and this is described as a sheer, warm purple with red undertones and glowing blue pearl. Good formula on this one. This is the most sheer out of all of them. There are almost no brush strokes through the shimmer, even when it's wet, and anything that you do find completely melts in after it dries. This starts to build up in 2 coats. It is still a bit sheer, so I needed a 3rd coat for this one, but the shimmer that's in this is that beautiful, like glowing from within kind of blue shimmer, and I love that, and I think it looks so cool with these warmer purple shades. This covered pretty well for me in 3 coats. Just like Meet Cute Moment, I had to really look for a visible nail line, and if I really looked for it, I could find it, but it was not obvious at all. So that is 3 coats of Flirty Flutters. And the last polish is called Blushin Crushin, and this is described as a vibrant hot pink with blue undertones. Again, it's a cream formula, so it's so perfect that there's not a ton to say. It applies really, really smoothly and effortlessly. It levels itself out really nicely, nearly opaque in 1 coat, just not quite there. This did build up and cover completely for me in 2 coats, and of course it did dry a little bit darker than when it was wet. So that is 2 coats of Blushin Crushin. So for comparisons, the first one that I have here is First Kiss Bliss. I have almost 3 full wheels for this one. This is Virgin Snow, and I always forget what a cool color Virgin Snow is. I feel like it probably fits into the periwinkle category, but I never really want to call it periwinkle. I feel like it's kind of off on its own in its own category. It looks very dusty gray purple here. Next to other colors, it will come off very like dusty gray blue. I don't know, it's a cool color. I always forget how cool this one is. So this is obviously much more purple, much more blue, much more gray, not super close there. This is Strike a Positano. This is darker. I would say it's like close, but it's definitely several shades darker. This is Turquoise and Caicos. This looks very, very green. This one is Blossom Dandy. This is also close, but maybe like a shade or 2 darker. I'm sorry if the light changes. The sun is kind of going in and out of clouds and my blind can only do so much. This is Borrowed in Blue. Again, like a light baby blue, nothing super close there. This one is Empowerment. This is also very close, just like a shade and a half darker maybe. This is Mint Candy Apple. This is the old version, so this is the one that looks much more blue, and it does look much more blue here. This one is Find Me an Oasis. This is a lot closer than I thought. It's not really any lighter or darker, but it is just a little bit more blue. This one is Blue Lala, again, very blue in comparison. And then this one is Blooming Friendships, which is also close. It might be like a touch more blue and obviously darker, but it's similar. This is Mint Candy Apple. This is the newer version, which is more green and actually very close to First Kiss Bliss, just a little bit darker. And just for reference, just for curiosity's sake, this is the old Mint Candy Apple and this is the new one. I don't know if there's several versions in between. My old bottle is very old, like maybe 2012, and my new bottle was purchased sometime in the last couple of years, but there tends to be a lot of variation with Essie shades, so there could be several shades in between that are considered technically Mint Candy Apple also. This is Absolutely Sure. This is a much more sage green. This one is Sway and Crochet, very blue. This one will make an appearance on the next one as well. This one will also be on the next one. This is Flight of Fantasy. This is also more like leaning into like slate blue territory and obviously much darker. So for Spring Fling, I brought in Let It Glow again, which is still not exactly the same. It's darker. It's a little more orange. I put Meet Cute Moment in here because I wasn't really thinking that you just saw them next to each other in the last wheel, so that's in here as well. Also a little bit peachier and doesn't have the same kind of shimmer. This is like a very strong gold shimmer. This one is much more subtle and like kind of hard to pick out the color. This is Pucker Up. This has a kind of like blue shimmer to it and is much more bright of a pink. And this one is Babes in the Booth, which is a little bit more purple and again does not have that strong shimmer. For Meet Cute Moment, this first one here is Homegrown. This one is definitely leaning more like neutral corally orange with a less prominent shimmer. This one is Reach New Heights. This is also much more peachy. I feel like the shimmer in this is a little bit stronger, but still not to the degree of Meet Cute Moment. This is Let It Glow. This is the closest. I do feel like the shimmer in this one is still not as obvious in contrast as it is in Meet Cute Moment, and this is a little bit darker, but it's close. And just for science sake, this is Spring Fling, which is also from this collection, and I will talk about comparisons to that in just a second. Okay, for Tulips Touch, this first one here is Ripple Reflect. This is close. It's a little bit more vibrant, less dusty, and also a little bit darker. This is Flight of Fantasy, which we saw on the last wheel. This is leaning a little bit more gray, maybe a little bit more green. This is Sway and Crochet, which is also on the last wheel. This is close, but also a bit lighter. This is Flare for Fun. This is just a little bit darker, but kind of like along the same lines, just a shade or 2 darker, or 3 maybe. This one is Amuse Me. This is very close to Flare for Fun. I feel like Amuse Me just is a little bit more vibrant and maybe has like a drop of green in it, but these two are pretty close, not so much with Tulips Touch. And then this one is Revenge's a Beach, Revenge's with an apostrophe, a beach, and this is much darker and has a lot more green in it. So for Flirty Flutters, I have Babes in the Booth again. This is much closer to Flirty Flutters. If Babes in the Booth had that kind of like blue contrasting shimmer to it, they would be almost identical. It's still a little bit lighter of a pink and it doesn't have that blue shimmer to it, but they are close. This one is Gilded Goddess. This is darker, kind of in the mauve direction and doesn't have that contrasting shimmer. This one is Fairest of Them All. This is much darker color and doesn't have that same kind of glowy shimmer to it. And then this one is Peace, Love, and Chocolate, which is almost more of like a chrome metallic kind of polish, not a contrasting pearly shimmer. And I will try to stop waving this in front of the polishes. I get a little carried away. Lastly, for Blushin' and Crushin', I have two sections for this as well. So this is Brides No Grooms. This is a little bit darker of a pink. This one is Sunset Sneaks. I actually forgot how much I liked this color as well. This is just a really cool, very vibrant red, and I don't know why I like it so much because it's red, but this is a good polish. This is obviously very red in comparison. This is Cute as a Button. This is leaning more coral, and this is Blossoms and Besties, which is a slightly brighter, more like Barbie pink. This is Rose to the Occasion. This is close. This is also a little bit brighter and maybe like a little bit more red, but they are very close in color. This one is No Shade Here. This is also very close. I think this is closer than Rose to the Occasion. This is just a touch brighter. And then this is All Dolled Up, which again is a very like blue-based looking Barbie pink. Meet Cute Moment is my favorite. You guys know I love a pink with gold shimmer. That's exactly what this is. I'm trying to steer away from just picking like a light blue, greeny blue cream because that's very predictable for me. This is also predictable, but it's a little different. I like these warm kind of shades. I like these shades for eyeshadow. I like these shades for nail polish. I just can't help but gravitate towards these. That is the Essie Blushin' and Crushin' collection for spring 2024. Again, I will link the Beyond Polish website down below where you guys can find those, as well as my coupon/affiliate code, which will be on the screen and in the description box. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.